saw that in Lazarus. I mean, Lazarus was dead for 4 days, and Jesus called it out. My marriage was dead in a ditch, and he changed me first. I read The Power of the Praying Wife, and you know where my attitude was when I grabbed that book? I'm going to get that book, and he's going to change. Yeah. I'm going to pray, and he's going to change. Right? Listen, women, our number one sin is pride. And you know what's in the middle of pride? Me. That's not where Jesus wants us. He's like, and listen, if you can get through the first chapter of that book, you know, the Lord will have you, because all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, I'm so bad. I need a Savior, you know, but it took that long. And I've been going to church my whole life. One book changed my life, changed my marriage, changed my heart. Then it changed my husband, and my husband changed. And it was a miracle. But it takes time. You know, we're in this instant gratifying society. I mean, we want it fixed, and we want it fixed now. It's like this whole microwave thing. You know, I mean, we even stand over the microwave going, come on. It's like, how long does a minute take? You know? So it's like, it takes time. We need to be patient and loving. But man, when Jesus gets a hold of you, anyway, it is amazing. That's one of the things that I just want to share with you, that, you know, God can take the most hardest situation, coming out of adultery. You know, that's a tough one, trying to forgive. And I can remember getting on my knees and just saying, Lord, you've got to come help me. And I clearly heard, this is not about you. And as heartbroken as I was, I'm thinking, yes, it is about me. I'm the one, you know, that got betrayed. And the older I've gotten, and it's about Jesus. You know, God does not cause these things to happen in our life. The enemy comes and he prowls to see who he can devour. And you know, that's the way we live. We live in a fallen world with a lot of hurt people, and hurt people hurt people. We've all heard that. But if you are willing to yield yourself to the Lord, he can do such amazing things. And I was able to love and forgive and put a marriage back together. And I have to tell this story because it is one of my, like, oh my gosh moments. But where I worked with my husband. We worked at Sprint, and with about 900 people. And the other woman worked at Sprint. And so it was really difficult to kind of just keep that, you know, smiling face, you know, like everything's going to be okay. And I was in corporate communications, so I was kind of like the corporate cheerleader. So, you know, everybody's expecting you to be happy, and we wear masks, you know, even though we're dying inside. And anyway, long story, it took 11 months for my husband to get from without under the grip of this woman. But through it all, I sent her some junior achievement stuff, trying to get her involved with her children so she could leave my husband alone. And anyway, and I had a face-to-face with her. Listen, you know, I can laugh about this now, but then I was like, listen, God doesn't want us to be little doormats either. You are a warrior. You are a child of God. And listen, something raised up in me, and it was the warrior that God was waiting for. And I met her like in a conference room, and I'm like, okay, you know, you and me, this has got to end, you know. And it was bad, but I didn't hurt her. But I had about 8 girlfriends that were ready to take her out, right? So, but nobody got hurt, because, you know, you've seen those shows on Snapped where they all end up in jail. That was not going to be a good thing. So anyway, and I had a Puerto Rican friend too, and she, you know, she was ready to just snatch her ball. But anyway, so we go through this season of trying to like reconnect, and she's still there. And anyway, I sent her some JA stuff and trying to get her involved, and we had this crazy guy intercepting intercompany mail and putting stuff in saying it's from me. Anyway, so we were this other woman and I were actually going to security together by the end because she was being harassed and stuff, but I was like, Lord, I can't take this anymore. I am done. Put a fork in me, I'm done. I want her dead, I want my husband dead, everybody gone, right? And God just loves us right where we're at. And I'm like, okay, well, bring it to me and meet me in my closet. I had a closet about the fourth size of this room, and, you know, God's serving her right up to me. Like, now what are you going to do? You're a Christian, right? You are a Christian. What are you going to do? And I just said, listen, you can't keep seeing my husband. I'm not going to leave. I'd already been divorced, right? I'm not leaving. I'm not going to have my kids go through this again. I'm holding on to this marriage for my children. I'll figure out the husband thing later. And listen, God can, and He did. He did amazing things. And so she comes into my closet, and I'm just like, you've got to leave. And she's like weeping, and she's starting to cry, and I love him. So this is where I had my collision with Christ, where, like, I don't know what happened. In heaven, I want to see it in the heavenly realm, what this really looked like, because, you know, I really wanted to choke the life out of her. Okay, so she's weeping. She's got her head down. I love him. And then all of a sudden, I felt my arms going up, and I drew her into me. I know. Jesus will make you do some wild and crazy things, let me tell you. So I pulled her into me, and I heard myself say, Jesus has called me to love and forgive you, but you have to leave. And she stepped back, and she said, I'll never call him again. Never call him again. Now, I couldn't work there anymore because that was not a really good place to work, so I made some plans to be a teacher and change my career. And fast forward, started a career in teaching. 60 days into being a new teacher, my husband was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer, had gone to his brain, so we went through all that. Listen, adultery is nothing compared to losing a spouse or losing a loved one. It all pales in comparison. I mean, we were in this honeymoon phase. I was just like, I can't wait to see what the Lord's going to do with us. And then he dies, you know, and I'm like, wait a minute. Jesus promises we can lay hands on the sick and they will heal and recover. But if you don't know that, we didn't know how to do any of that. I'd never even heard that, you know. So I have been on that journey. Like, I want it all. I want the gifts of the Spirit. I want speaking in tongues. I want to lay hands on people. I want to see them recover, and I've seen it. God wants us to live like that. And then I'm in the wilderness at this car wash, and I'm there for 9 years, picking up trash, fixing foam brushes. My girlfriend and I are looking like Lucy and Ethel out there, you know, fixing things. And my heart's desire, because I love marriage. I mean, I've had some hard things happen, but I love marriage. I saw it lived out in my mom and dad. My mom and learning how to get to know Jesus better and wanting my Boaz to show up. And so one day he did, and he was in a big truck, and he could fix things, and he became my friend. And, you know, it's just amazing what God can do if we just let him lead and guide us. And he wants to give you the desires of your heart. It says in Psalm 37, delight in the Lord and he will give you the desires of your heart. He knew exactly who I needed to be with. I would have never met my husband if I didn't own that car wash. So what I thought was this awful sentence of living at, you know, owning a car wash, you know, God delivered my husband, and we'll be married 2 years in December. And, you know, God's just faithful that way. He takes this mess and he makes it into a beautiful message.